Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today for you guys another video, Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be going over some free-to-play options that can actually be ran with Makoto himself while still allowing you to get as much use out of his kit as possible. If you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. As always, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's been a crazy night, and man, I have a lot more stuff that's going to be coming out soon. I think another video should be uploading later on today, which might be a guide as well. So surely do look forward to that. But go ahead and get straight into it. Now, on the last video I ended up doing, which was about Makoto and at least my experience in guild score, some folks weren't too happy with that one, mainly because it was kind of skewed to, I guess, to some people's eyes, skewed to the whale territory, or at least non-free-to-play territory. Now, we're going to be going ahead and trying to do this in a way that can make a lot more people feel a little bit happy with the free-to-play side of things, in showing his best in slot teams, while also showing at least some free-to-play options that can be available for everyone out there. So first things first, when it comes down to your team options, Makoto himself, no matter what, is of course the staple of the talk. When it comes down to at least the actual personas and things of this, these personas are all able to be gotten, not, well, I guess you could say technically early game, because everyone should be around 70 to 80 at this point, especially when it comes down to personas. So they can all be gotten early game except for this guy here. Now for this one in the front here, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly who you would use for this, because it's mainly going to be used for this actual pass up here that I don't really know who would really be able to replace them. If you wanted, you very well could try and just utilize a fire related persona here, whether that could be thrown, or either you can go ahead and use any fire related personas down at the bottom that gives you an attack boost here, primarily for the man Makoto himself. As for these two, of course, Yanosek is our main character's main persona, so you should have this one. And then of course, being level 70 or 60 or 60 through 80, you should be able to farm up Dionysus pretty easily, and you get pretty much that move that he needs to use early game. So we don't have to go too far in at least that build. Now for this dagger, you will need to exchange it out the shop, which is available to all free to plays as well. You don't need to have it as duped to me. But of course, if you do get it duped out as well later on through the game, that is possible. As for his main team, there are a few things that you very well could change. Now, this is the actual main best in slot team of this point in time. Of course, it will change as we get more C's members, but if you're free to play, you want a couple other options to at least your disposal. So let's go ahead and actually give you these to you here. You want to at least have one support, especially when it does come down to at least this whole slot here. And Rico is our helpful little person for this. So there are two characters that actually could possibly replace Rico herself here, though they do have a little bit of a twist on them. One of them is of course going to be Leon. Now Leon has been a meta 4-star character that has been here for quite some time here, being at least a crit damage buffer. This character I've used countless times in countless videos, and without a doubt, still to this day really shows his worth. Helps out with attacking, but his main ordeal is going to be at least helping out your overall crit damage that you will need. So primarily, you're only going to be utilizing these two skills and then his ultimate. This allows you to pretty much just get as much things as you need done here and see fit, usually allowing you to have a ton more of attack, and that's really what you want to have. Alongside of this, of course, with the amount of attack that you do have, this buffer is definitely going to be the go-to person, especially with the amount of crit damage he does have on his passive. So surely you want to be able to activate this in order to take as much advantage as possible. Now this character does not need his 5-star weapon, but of course, if you are a 4-star min-maxer and you really want to have this team as good as possible, getting the 5-star weapon is going to be much so a needed possibility. Mainly because it does increase your attack, but it alongside of this increases your crit damage an extra 16% as well, which can help you out while also letting you live a little bit longer, seeing it does increase the shield effect that he will apply on you. This character, without a doubt, if you wanted to go ahead and build him, will have pretty much just a basic set. I'm using one of his worst ones, which is the strength set here, and it just mainly gives him a lot of attack, which he is built off of, but you very well can use a couple other sets as well. One of these here is like this, and then the other one is actually a highlight related looking set called Reconciliation, in which I did actually show in one of my shorts if you guys want to check that out as well to see how to build this guy correctly. But he is one of the actual replacements for a buffer. And if you don't have this character pretty much well built, don't worry, there is another option, and it's not I accidentally clicked that. There's another option being loose. Now, Luce is a new character that recently came out, and a lot of us might have gotten him, especially being that the anniversary was out, giving this guy for free, and he is a really good unit to boot here. Of course, 4 stars. I'm taking account with them having their A6 because usually getting A6 with 4 stars are way easier, of course, than getting any 5-star in general here. And with this here, you're also getting yourself a nice buff with the damage dealt side of things, which Makoto does prefer a decent bit of. Alongside of this, of course, you do have on his 3rd skill called in Symbol of Stars, which you guys can actually see on my screen in 1 second. Let me go ahead and pull them up here. This 3rd skill actually allows you to go ahead and swap through different modes. Each one of his masks has a certain mode here. One of them for Osmosis is actually boosting your T. One of them called Superversion is helping out with technicals. The other one called Empathy, which is the one that we really want to look at, is the crit damage one. Of course, if you are looking for a crit damage related buff. And then of course, Resonance, which is another one that helps out Makoto himself, which is the green related mask here, increases his pin rates by 12% for 2 whole turns. All these effects can last for 2 whole turns, but you have to be on that said mask that he does offer in order to do this said thing here. Alongside of this, of course, the man is helping out damage dealt the entire time and attack, so you surely want to keep this in mind, especially if you are trying to at least use something very, very good for the man Makoto himself. But now we went over the buffers here that you could possibly use as the optional slots here. But what other things can you use as a debuffer, or who else can you use in this team to pretty much make them somewhat viable? Well, one of the other characters that you can go ahead and use in this team as a buffer, which can be a secondary buffer as well, helping out the pin rate, seeing you're probably going to be lacking some pin here, is going to be Turbo. Now, Turbo is an absolute amazing character. She is a standard unit just like Runa, of course, but instead of being a debuffer in the team, of course, you very well would have another buffer. So essentially, if you wanted this team to be complete, I would rather you guys go ahead and run something similar to this. If you don't have at least A1 Rico, go ahead and use Leon and then use Turbo on the side. This is going to help you out with not only the crit damage side of things from Leon, but also help you out with the pin side of things that you're going to be missing, just in case you may not have Anj, or maybe just missing a little bit of extra pin and extra buffs. So this is going to be one of the few characters that you very well can use. She's going to be fairly helpful, especially when you're just deciding how your team's really going to go. And I feel like a lot of you guys might enjoy this. Seeing that this character is mainly helping out pin, on the off chance that you don't have Anj, of course, you very well could use Phoebe, or at least use Phoebe here. Just stop learning how to talk for a quick second. You very well can use Phoebe here as well, really a lot, at least helping out your whole team in general. This is mainly because Phoebe acts as more of an offensive related Navi, but also allows you to not only help out on the damage bonus side, but a little bit on the attack and HP side as well. So you're not only getting a little bit more survivability, you're boosting up your attack, which is always nice, while also getting that extra damage bonus when necessary. Now, this is a character who is a 5-star, but she is a standard 5-star, much just like Turbo. So of course it does give you a little bit of an edge to go ahead and decide what you want to use. Now, with this in mind here, that is one of the other teams that you can use, but what let's say you don't have at least Turbo? What more can you do? What is there another option? Well, luckily for you guys, Makoto does have a 3rd option in play here, and this is probably going to be the most budget of the budget. So what you want to go ahead and do is have your team somewhat set up like this. Luce being, of course, the main buffer that you're looking for, seeing he has crit damage and pin. And then your next character, if you want another debuffer, would end up relying on Vino. Now, Vino here is actually an amazing character. She herself is a debuffer for the nuke teams majority of the time, and she was a unit that quite literally was used 24/7. We still use her every now and again, in which that means she's still kind of there in the meta itself. So don't think that this character is just nowhere to be found. She is found quite often, especially inside of different meta related teams, where it's Makoto Nijima's team instead of Makoto Yuki's team, of course, but she actually fits here as well, allowing you to actually kind of stir up a little bit more with some debuffs and more to your exposure, especially when it comes down to either getting winded, ice related status effects, getting the burn off, anything like that nature. She's able to do it. You would just end up only using her ult, her 1st skill, and her 3rd skill. This allows you, of course, to get that lovely damage taken that you do need on the enemy, of course, dealing more damage to the enemy, while also getting that defense down that you do need as well. With this in mind, of course, there is a last navigator that you can use alongside of this team, and that would be Rico. Rico's mainly going to be very helpful for this, just as for knocking down the enemy as well, and getting some extra debuffs that you do need, or either buffs for your team in total, especially when it does come down to it. Rico herself, of course, being the Navi that she is, she helps out with reducing the defense of enemies while also helping you out in general, or at least giving you that nice damage dealt that you are looking for, while of course sharing her stats that she does have. So you do have at least a couple options when it does come down to this. If you did want to use the most budget of the budget teams, this would be the one you go ahead and use. Now, I'm going to give each of these a little bit of a spin. I've yapped a long time about this, so I do want to go ahead and at least try them out. They're going to be kind of difficult to do because I don't think I have Luce built yet, in which I still want to get him built, but he's one of the few characters I don't have built just yet. I do have his 5-star weapon, so of course we will be trying that out here. And as you guys can see, he's literally just there. But we're going to give each of these teams a little bit of a whirl to show you guys, hey, this is possibly the best way you can get it done. And this is going to be a lot more of a, hey, you definitely can still get some high numbers with this character, despite not having the dupes that you do need. So first things first, let's go ahead and give a little bit of a whirl with the second team that we were talking about here. So we're going to go ahead and use our Leon, who is our crit damage buffer. We're going to go ahead and use Turbo, which is going to help us out in the pin related category. And then we're going to use Phoebe. Now, granted, my Phoebe is a 6, so it probably would not be a fair assumption to go ahead and show that off. I can see if one of my buddies here do have an extra, what is it called? Have an extra character I can borrow, which is going to be a little bit of a problem. But if they don't have that, then of course it's perfectly fine. We'll just have to deal with the A6 here because she is a standard unit. So now we got this all in line here. Let's give it a little bit of a whirl. So going into the first match here, if you guys want to set this up, your speed counter would be somewhat similar to how I have it now. We want at least everyone going before at least our man Makoto. So do keep in mind. So first things first here, we always want to use our first skill. This first skill is always going to keep you good and buffed here, allowing you to have everyone perfect. Then our next one, go ahead and buff our man, at least Makoto, getting him this nice old shield, getting up his crit damage and his attack at least accordingly. Then after this here, if you do not have this persona, I would just advise you guys to immediately try to invest into at least using Rebellion just as a crit damage thing, or at least a crit damage and crit rate buffer. So if that's not possible, then you can always use a Karakaja to at least get up your attack here, which is technicality what we're really doing, allowing us to get up our crit damage and damage taken for this boss. But I'm gonna go ahead and use this as the first one. Boom, make sure we have that damage inlay. And then from here, we can do whatever we want. Now, if you have Phoebe pop up at this point in time, that is perfect for you guys. Usually you won't have a drink that is rainbow down there, so you would try to use at least the first skill first, going into the skill 2 or 3 for the next round, depending if you do have a chalice. So for us, we're just going to try and play this if we have an A0 Phoebe here. So I'm going to go ahead and use our at least first skill, getting up our attack here. And then for us, for at least specifically here, we can only use this one time for at least our actual thing. It's only for one whole turn. So I don't want to go ahead and use this now. We want to wait till we're able to actually use our Scarlet Devouring Blaze, allowing us to deal a ton more damage. So let's go ahead and use this first. Which right here, we got the 18k damage, which as you can see is a little lackluster for that first attack, but is bound to happen. Now, one of the main things that this team does suck on is not having at least that type of, what is it called? That type of actual sustainability. Sustainability is going to be your main go-to problem with this team here. And I feel like if you guys are not prepped for this, that's going to be how this is going to end up going. The best way I would say for you guys with this in mind here, seeing that Wonder is a terrible support character when it does come down to healing, I would highly, and I mean this as much as possible, I would highly advise you guys to invest into getting some items. Items, especially for these type of fights, are going to be very key. So I would suggest you guys to get those as fast as possible when it does come down to it. But as you guys did see, we went ahead and did all of our turbo moves, use our skill 3 so we can actually get prepped. And then for this round, we're going to go ahead and use Rebellion to make sure we get our crit rate and crit damage on up here, so the man can actually deal some good damage here. Now, first things first, we're going to go ahead and pop off our third G skill. So let's go ahead and do this here, making sure we can deal as much damage as possible. And since it is, of course, our first little round here as well, I'm gonna go ahead and use our assist skill, which this is our one time only skill here. So keep that in mind. Then we can go ahead and use our skill 3. As you can still see, the man is still doing a good 166k, especially out of battle, or at least out of guild boss, which majority of the time, if you're going to see some higher numbers, it's going to be because of guild boss related, at least assumptions here. So with this in mind, what I would advise you guys to do, if you have a rainbow drink, go ahead and use a parallel drink here. If you don't, you want to go ahead and use this one, making sure that the man Makoto can survive due to at least the lifesteal that he does get from this and the damage dealt. So we're going to go ahead and use this here. And one of the few people that I feel like you guys can go ahead and actually use as a little bit of a healer is going to be Leon. So on the off chance that you're very low, at this point in time, try to heal up your team as good as possible, because you are lacking that support, of course. Heal your team here and continue with your rotation. So we've already done our at least boost here. We've already done at least our main deals that we need to pay attention to. So let's just go ahead and use our Terukaja, helping out our attack over at least a little bit more, seeing that we do need to have that extra attack to really, I guess you can say, get Makoto really ready. So he's going to kidnap a person here. And who did he get? Actually, I didn't really see who he got there. But due to this, we're going to go ahead, pop this on off, giving us a nice attack boost here, as well as a little bit of our HP back. And then for this one, we're going to go ahead and pop off, I would like to say, I want to get Wonder Freed, but at the same time, I kind of want to get this guy as low as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Dealing some decent damage, around 50k, setting up for our next round once again. If you do have your Phoebe popping up and you do have at least another drink to your disposal, go ahead and use this one, being unparalleled drink here, allowing you to get that attack up or fire damage up as well. Once this is going ahead and being done here, we can go ahead and use whatever we want. Now, I do believe we should have had our, what is it called? We should have had our turbo mode here, but unfortunately, I think we got gypped out of it, which is kind of interesting there. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing that we did last time. Let's go ahead and use our skill 2, getting him all prepped up here. And then since of course our wonder is gone, we can't really do much with him, so we kind of have to deal with what we got. And oof, that should have hurt, or at least that hurt a lot there, which we have to deal with this as well. And then what we're going ahead and do is follow up with at least the skill 3. Now, once again, this team, of course, can very well do very, very good here, though you do need the proper buffs. And that is one of the main problems, seeing that versus something like this, you are going to have a little bit of issue, seeing you don't have that sustainability to your, at least your disposal. So do keep that in mind when utilizing this one. So this was on difficulty 8. So we're going to go ahead and jump at least back out of here. You guys can see a little bit of the damage that Makoto himself can very well do, though it is going to be a little bit more of a struggle for you guys. Now, when it does come down to the next team that we're going to go ahead and showcase, this is going to be the one with Luce, as well as using our girl Vino. Now, this team I actually expect to die a little bit quicker than our last team here, mainly because, of course, they have no sustainability whatsoever and are even weaker, if I would like to say, than the secondary team here, seeing that Vino is really, really squishy. So we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. And we're going to use our girl Rico, and the weapon that I have on her is her 5-star weapon, though if you wanted to, and if you were here for that at least event, I would highly suggest you guys to utilize her what is it called, her event weapon, which looks like this one here, if I'm correct. Let me make sure this is the right one, because no, it's this one here. It looks like this one here, which is the green one. This one itself does give you, of course, that increased defense and HP, so if you do very well need this, you better use it. It will definitely help you out in the long run. So I'm gonna once again do the same team here and at least give it a shot. So for this one, let's see how far we can actually get, because this team is where things are going to get really, really hard to do. So with that in mind, go ahead and get this here. Since we are on our man Luce, we're gonna go ahead and change to at least our pin related one, which is going to be this actual wind one. The only reason why I'm going to change him to the pin related type skill here is mainly just because this character, or at least Makoto himself, needs a lot of pin, right? You can get the crit damage, which will happen our next round where we'll swap our mask again, but you definitely want to go ahead and try to utilize this character as good as possible when it does come down to, at least, I guess you could say, managing your team. Now, keep in mind, this guy isn't built fully at all, so it's going to be an interesting time here. But we're going to go ahead and use this properly to get the pin on at least going here. So let's go ahead and use our skill 1. And then we'll follow up with our skill 3 if we do survive, because this team, as you can see, that first hit was already a problem. But go ahead and use our skill 1, getting the defense down, of course, as well. And then on this turn, we're going to try and start it the same way. So I'm not really going to change up at least this main persona when it does come down to at least Wonder here. And you kind of see the damage difference, or at least what we end up doing differently when it does come down to this unit. So going to our skill 1, we'll go ahead and pop this off. And we got a good old 40k, which really isn't too bad. We actually did a lot better with that team hit instead of viewing our last team. So really, not bad in at least the damage category, but that's also because we do have a little bit more of a edge due to having a actual pin buffer here as well. Then we're going to use our skill 1, lowering the defense as well, helping us out a decent bit. And then we're going to use your skill 3 if you do have this man up. This is going to give you the pin related, of course, buff here, which is with the green mask. You very well could have, of course, used the yellow mask for the crit damage related buff, but I would think the pin is going to be way more helpful, seeing it does help out Makoto more. Now with this in mind here, we very well could just go ahead and pop our ult here, in which I think the best ult to really just pop at this point might actually be our man Wonder. So we're going to actually save this little ult here, and I'm going to use the skill 3 for Vino. Make sure we get that damage taken up. Once we're on Wonder, you want to go ahead and usually swap over to a buffing type of persona here. So we're going to go ahead and use Dionysus, pop off with the damage dealt ultimate here. And then we're immediately going to use Rebellion, getting up the crit rate and crit damage. And then now we can kind of go ham and do whatever we want. So first things first here, I want to go ahead and just pop off with Thurgy. Actually, let's just do the W assist first. Go ahead and use our assist first. Pop off our Theurgy. Allowing us to deal 177k, which is actually way higher than the last one here. And then deal how much with this ult as well. Whoa, that's okay. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, right? I'm gonna need to get this team built. I was not expecting him to deal that much damage with this. This actually might be more of just a better team than the last one I showcased. Holy crap. Well, that was 655k. That's kind of good. Holy crap. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get away from this one, of course, because we need to get this team absolutely just set in stone here. But you guys get the gist. You can still deal a lot of damage with this man Makoto. Just the only thing that he's gonna start lacking is that sustainability. So you will need to, of course, get that at least wrapped around, depending on what you're doing. Now, granted, I am doing level 5 currently, the hardest one that's out with this boss. So it is a little bit of a little problem trying to do some of this stuff, but at the same time, it is still doable. Just gonna have to take a couple extra steps that may not be too family friendly to a lot of people. But those are some at least free to play options that you guys can very well use and see how to use, at least utilize them correctly. And I'm gonna continue trying to do some free to play stuff for you guys because one, I don't like being told that I'm not really trying to help you guys out. One of the things I try to pride myself on, especially you guys kind of see that comment really did bug me, in which I know as a YT, you get those comments all the time. It does happen, but it kind of bugged me a lot because I do understand where people come from when it does come down to the free to play side of things here. Seeing I, of course, have been there multiple times throughout my life. And there have been times where I was like, I can't run this due to not having this. So I try to pride myself on at least coming out with free to play things for you all. And so being told that I'm not too free to play friendly didn't really sit well to me. So we're going to try and get more free to play content out there for you guys so you can at least see what this character can really do. And I'm actually tempted to get that loose team up really quickly because with some really good damage, especially coming from at least that 4-star team. So color me surprised on that one, but yeah, we're definitely going to try that again. But till next time, everybody, peace out.